Hi, I'm Bill MacPhee, CEO of MacPhee Media Inc., your partner in mental wellness. Thank you for tuning in to today's video blog. On today's blog, I have a question, and the question basically says, what can you tell me about the history of mental illness and schizophrenia? And can you give me some statistics about mental illness? Well, basically, the history of mental illness goes back way, way, way since man has been on this earth, and it's a common thing. Many times, even in scripture, in the Bible, you'll see certain things on mental illness, and certain characters in the Bible have had mental illness, depression, very, very prevalent in some of the scriptures that people are going through. So, really, basically, mental illness has been around for a long, long time. However, just what's new though is science or the art of psychiatry, and that's a relatively new field. Psychiatrists have only really been around since Freud and beyond that, and basically, so the history is it's always been there. We don't know what causes it. We don't know why mental illness is a factor, but it's just like any other illness where, say, for example, people who have heart problems or kidney problems or diabetes or whatever, it's there. It's here on Earth, and we definitely need to realize that. But so so to answer the question, mental illness has been around for a long, long time, but psychiatry is a new field. And what happened in psychiatry is in the late 50s, we've only gotten medication developed in the 50s since then. So that's why psychiatry is still a relatively new field when it comes to medicine. We, as well, the history of mental illness. You may, hear about the witches in Salem that were burned at the stake and things like that. Well, that's happened, and many people who have been mentally ill were definitely persecuted and thought that they were possessed or that they had satanic episodes and different things like that. But that's not true. Basically, schizophrenia and mental illnesses are a biochemical illness, and they can be controlled with medication. Um, the history of mental illness as well is that not too long ago in the 18th and 19th century is that people were warehoused in institutions, huge, huge institutions around North America that would hold basically thousands of people, and people would be entered into the institutions, and they were actually called institutions for the insane or insane institutions, and people were put in there where their clothes and their luggage would be stored in the attic, and they would never expect to come out, or they would never be let out of the hospital. There is still a need for that today. There is an aspect where people do not recover from mental illness, and some people who are very, very so sick and dangerous that there are still institutions, there are a place for them. However, there is a place for being out in the community as long as there's supports as well. That's a little bit about the history of mental illness. Now, as far as the question, as far as some stats goes, basically 20% of people will have a mental illness, whether it be schizophrenia, bipolar, schizoaffective, depression, anxiety, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. 1 out of 5 people, or 20% of the population, will have a mental illness, and that is around every culture. In saying that, with schizophrenia specifically, it's 1% of the population that suffers from schizophrenia. And with depression by the year 2020, depression will be the second leading cause of disability next to diabetes and stroke and heart disease. So it's a very, very big problem, very prevalent. In the future blog, within the next week, I will talk about the history of medications, and so that you could learn about that as well. So thank you for tuning into this video blog, and if you have a question for me, just email me at bmcphee@magpiemags.com, or go to mentalwellnesstoday.com. Thank you and have a great day.